Oh my gosh. What do I just say hi, I'm Megan type of thing? Okay. Hi, I'm Megan, and this is my 2006 GMC Yukon that I converted out into a camper. So there's two main parts of the build. There's the bed, and then there's this sort of cabinet, kitchen, bathroom, everything else side. The third thing that's kind of tucked in the corner there is my solar. The bed is partially permanent, but the other part extends with this thing here. There is a piece of wood that used to fit nicely there, but now it doesn't for whatever reason. So I usually just do a little spin and then put this on, pull the sheets over, and then I have a full-size twin-ish size bed. And then I enter my home, and here we have my kitchen. So if I move my garbage basket, I can get to my stove, which only fits in one direction, and if this is upside down, because nothing in this build is straight. This is kind of my dish dry mat. I have running water. That is a USB rechargeable water pump. And then, yeah, I have this little trough here with sort of oils, soap, and day-to-day items. And most of my kitchen stuff is in here. There's nothing fancy about this drawer. It's just very tight and it stays put. I guess the last kitchen thing is my fridge here. It's an Iceco JP50, so it's more than enough space for a single person like me. I didn't put the stickers on. So I don't know if it's technically safe, but I always open as many windows as possible and I cook here, which might be a bad idea, but I have a carbon monoxide detector as well, so far I've been safe. I don't know. And then I guess the additional kitchen stuff I have is in this cabinet over here. So if I get it just right, I have a pan and a pot, and I make pretty simple meals because I only have one burner. And in this cabinet, I have a jet boil, which is actually, I guess you could say it's the second burner of my stove. It just boils water, but every morning I use it to make my French press coffee, and I've gotten a lot better at making coffee. I have a lot of my clothes in the top halves of all of these cabinets here. So socks and kind of like hiking gear clothes are in the back there. And then also in this top one, I have all of my shirts. The other top secret storage I have is this pillow that's not a pillow, it's just more clothes. The other pillow that you can see here is also not a pillow. It's actually my sleeping bag for when I go on backcountry hikes. It is all an illusion. So I just came from the Campbell River area. So I was in Strathcona Park, which is probably one of my favorite places that I've been to in my whole experience on the island. I saw a lot of waterfalls, I saw lakes, but I feel like the best part about it was people. I always love that about hikes. And I met just a few other random people that had actually met earlier that day as well. And they invited me over for dinner at their campsite later, and I made them their first s'mores, and it was really precious. So, onto my bathroom. You could say this is my medicine cabinet. Dry shampoo, or not dry shampoo, the cheap version of dry shampoo, baby powder, which is essential for not showering regularly. The biggest question of all is my toilet. This is my toilet. You can still see the sticker from the thrift store that I bought it at. Oh, I don't know. It has emotional significance because it felt like my commitment to doing this for myself this summer. And it had never been used before, so, you know, it's clean. I don't really use it as my main toilet. It's more just for emergencies if I'm stealth camping, which happens often. For my electricity, I have a solar panel and also a second battery. So the battery's mostly just charged by me driving around because I do that a lot. I basically have enough power that I can hang out in the same spot without driving for like 2 to 3 days as long as the sun's out. My go-to plug and that I'm really happy with is this handy little outlet here. We ran an extension cord kind of through all the paneling here and then cut a hole for that little guy there. And boop. So all of the electrical is hidden under this box here. So I have the battery, inverter, charge controller. I think that's it. The fridge is hooked up directly to the charge controller, which is nice because then it bypasses the inverter. If that doesn't have enough juice from the battery and I need to turn it off because it just beeps incessantly. Is that the right word? Then yeah, it just kind of can stay running directly from the solar panel. So the other part of it is this isolator here, which makes sure that although the battery can be charged from the car, that it won't drain the car battery while I'm stopped. So this was definitely complicated to figure out how to make it work, probably just because we didn't know anything about mechanics. But basically we ended up throwing another fuse in over here, in there. And I don't know why. I'm not the one that's knowledgeable, but I'm fortunate to have a lovely boyfriend who's an electrician. And yeah. So it's done. Another very important utility inside the SUV is plumbing. So this is my setup here. I have a gray water jug and a fresh jug here, and it's a pretty basic setup. Just this hose runs down from the sink and is in there and hasn't leaked yet, which is great. This one, on the other hand, would leak if I didn't have this kind of food safe putty here. And yeah. I guess a fun fact is this actually gave me a huge headache. I couldn't get the water to run properly and it just had all this like air in it, and eventually I figured out that the tube wasn't sitting in the bottom of the jug, so there's actually a rock tied to the tube that makes it sink in the water. Very expert building here. I have 2 ways of maintaining my privacy. There is my curtain that was very nicely hand sewed by myself, and it kind of just gets roughly velcroed up to these things. And this one fell off, so I just tuck it in for now. If you look in from the front of the car, you'll probably know that this isn't just a regular SUV, but at least I have my privacy. The other thing is my window covers here. So it's it's corrugated plastic, and then on either side there is a piece of Reflectix, or like I guess in Canada it's called Resisto, and then just black fabric. So I basically just learned how to do this from a guy on YouTube. I don't actually know if it's scientifically correct, but they're very sturdy, they never fall out, and they're black, so you can't see in the windows, and it doesn't look like there's anything in, it just looks like they're heavily tinted. The windows, let's see. It goes like that. And then I have one for each window, the back window, all the windows. So originally I came up with this idea because I wanted to travel up to the Yukon, and then it kind of just snowballed into a bigger adventure this summer to go across all of BC and Vancouver Island. But the idea has always appealed to me, kind of van life. I've always loved traveling and being outdoors, and also minimalism, so just having less stuff in order to give me more freedom. The biggest benefit for me, I think, is just being able to sleep anywhere, especially in an SUV. Even on the ferry today coming back to Vancouver, the attendant that was telling people to leave their vehicles to go upstairs had this whole moment of shock, being like, "Whoa, you've got a kitchen in there?" And I was like, "Yes." I was like, I always think that the solar panel isn't going to be as stealthy, but people never know that there's a whole camper in here. So I think that, and then it just being able to enable me to check off a bunch of bucket list items, like hikes that I wanted to do, and not have to worry about paying for hotels. So in order to prepare for this lifestyle, I had saved up a lot of money throughout the winter season, but I also used to own a regular car, which when I sold that, I had money to buy this vehicle. So that kind of just like was a break-even thing. But the actual camper itself cost me about $4,000. You have to keep in mind that was buying the Thule and the Iceco fridge, and my battery setup was probably about half of that. Definitely worth it, but a big ticket item. I think for anyone that wants to get into this lifestyle, you have to really want to get to know yourself or be comfortable with being alone. My advice would be to go on a road trip alone and to also go camping alone, preferably in a tent. Because that's basically what this is bundled up together. I don't think it is for everyone, but I think anyone can do it if they want. The biggest thing I've learned while doing this was really the importance of taking care of myself the same way I would if I was in a house. I think it's really easy to get wrapped up in wanting to do every single thing, but it's really just self-care. I still have to take days where I just do nothing, even if it's sunny outside. I can just hang out in here like it's my home. Yeah, rest. Rest is really important. Something I wish I knew about this before is not possible. I wish I knew that gas prices were gonna go up, but don't we all? That's my not so serious answer, because I do wish I knew that. I feel like my expectations for this lifestyle and this adventure were pretty realistic, and I knew that things would be hard or kind of maybe I'd feel paranoid, but I think there were still a few things that surprised me as being unexpected. I think the biggest one is kind of that feeling of being on the outskirts of regular society, but not quite having found the van life community. I feel like maybe it's just me, but in Canada it's just so big, everything seems so spread out. So my expectation was maybe I'll be lonely. So I set up all these meetings with friends along the way, and I kept in touch with people. But what I didn't expect was sort of the feeling of isolation from not having a community. Because I've always oriented myself towards travel, minimalism has always been a very practical thing. I've gotten used to traveling out of a backpack and not needing very much, especially on backcountry hiking trips. And also the biggest thing was moving from Ontario to Banff this last couple of years. I had to fit everything into my little Toyota Corolla. So that was a big downsizing. And then I kind of just slowly made my life circumstances smaller and smaller until this is almost everything I own, with the exception of winter stuff that's in my parents' basement. I'm a big thinker, so I've put a lot of thought into my values in life, partially so that it helps me focus on what's in front of me, rather than try to like plan ahead too far. So I've ultimately kind of come down to wanting my life to be about collecting experiences more than anything else. It's really helped me embrace even negative experiences, or what are commonly thought of as negative emotions, but really, for example, like all emotions have a purpose. They're all tools to let us know how we're feeling and what we need. So yeah, I think my philosophy on life is experiencing everything. I don't know. I'm a philosopher now. I think kind of the biggest takeaway of all is that I would hope for everyone to have gratitude for their own life, no matter what it looks like. Doing this experience, it's something that's very glamorized. A lot of people look at it and think it's the dream, but having experienced it, your problems don't just magically disappear. They just come with you in the SUV or in the camper or whatever. So I just think no matter what, you just have to find something to be grateful for and hold on to, no matter what your life circumstances are. I think at the end of the day, you really just have to trust that your path is the right path and your journey will take you to where you need to be. Another factor that kind of changes the dynamic of this journey for me is having a partner that isn't with me. I had planned this whole adventure before I met him, and he was just super supportive from the start. But it definitely is interesting learning about myself, coming from always doing solo travel to now having someone else that's important in my life, and finding that balance between my own journey and learning about myself and the different type of experiences you have as a solo traveler, but also wishing to share all of these experiences with that person. If you want to follow me and see what I'm up to every day, follow me on Instagram. It's basically my name, but with a twist. So MEGANCLAARKE.
If you would like to be featured on different media, there's a form you can fill out to be on the podcast or to have your van toured. And if you're interested in watching more alternative dwelling tours like this, we upload every single Sunday. So hit subscribe, and new van life and chill podcasts every Thursday. Thanks everyone for watching.